Hello, welcome to the Right Stuff Anime Podcast.
Woohoo! We're back!
Woo, we're back.
Been a while. Hopefully y'all are doing all right out there.
Yep.
Yeah, thank goodness. And I guess we should just reintroduce ourselves then. I'm Will. I am a social media coordinator.
I'm Chris. I am a merchandising coordinator.
I am Quinn. I'm also a merchandising coordinator, and our comrade missing in action is Thomas, who is the merchandising manager, and he is just busy.
Oh, yeah.
We've
So,
got a lot of irons in the fire here at Right Stuff that we're excited to give you more info on, but that will come in time.
Yep.
Let's get caught up with how things have been, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you can tell, it's been a while since we've done this podcast episode, so I'm sure we've all watched a lot of anime and looking forward to a lot of anime since the fall anime season just started last week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There's too much now. I'm like, wait, where are the shows? What shows? I didn't even know stuff was happening this season.
I know, I was like, I didn't realize how much I was excited looking forward to this season until like I actually started looking at a list and I'm like, oh, there's that. And now I've got like 8 or 7 anime I want to like check out.
I know, right? Are you going to make it through all of them at the same time throughout the whole season? That is the question.
Ooh, I don't know. I'm usually a binger who I like to watch like the first couple episodes to see if it's my thing. And then I like to like take a rest, see how getting feedback from people who are actually watching it to make sure it's worth it, and if it's like getting close to the end and I think it would be worth to watch, I binge as much as I can.
That's a good strategy.
Me, I like doing it the old-fashioned way, like being able to have a week to process everything you see in each episode. Like, I'm a big Star Trek guy, and CBS All Access, the way they do their Star Trek shows, instead of putting it all out at once, they release an episode each week, and it's nice to be like, oh yeah, that's what I liked about this episode. I can talk to my friends about it instead of be like, oh, let's go to episode 2, and you get to actually judge it piece by piece instead of just as one big blob and stuff blurs together. So I kind of appreciate that. And also that way, if it turns out that there's a show that I watched the first 2 episodes of and it's just not my thing, and be like, all right, you go over there. I'm going to spend my time watching something I enjoy.
Yep. I'm a combo of the two. I like to save all my streaming shows during the week and watch them as Saturday morning cartoons. Because I'm from that era, I need my Saturday morning fix.
Oh, yeah.
And then I always have one show that I'm binging that's concluded from a different season or an older show.
I know over the summer I've actually been usually spending most of my time going through some of my backlog.
Yeah.
And so I finally got to watching Stars Align, if either of you have watched the show.
Watch the first episode or 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did watch that one. I had to think. I was
The
thinking
Soft Tennis Club?
Yeah. It is not an idol show.
Yeah, it's not an idol show, and I really don't think it's really about soft tennis.
No,
either.
no, it is not. It's about terrible parenting.
Oh, yeah.
It's oh god,
Like
these poor kids.
all the boys on the tennis team have like these like terrible family home situations. But like it really makes you feel for them, which is really nice.
Yeah, and I think the Soft Tennis Club too provides them with like support from each other. Like once they get over their own hurdles with their own friendships, they're actually being very supportive.
Yeah.
But yeah, that show gets brutal.
Yeah, really brutal.
Not even like we hit you. It's like more mental. It's good, but oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's good. Oh yeah, but I was over the summer. I decided to check out Decadence or Pararanman. Have either of you guys?
I haven't watched that.
I watched the first few episodes of Decadence, but I got distracted by other things.
Yeah. Not to get into too much spoilers, but what did you think of the second episode where they were like, so this is Decadence?
It was like, is this an online game? Is this what's going on here? Are they like running around in reality and half the population doesn't know they're a part of a game? It's odd.
Yeah. But if you like watch more episodes, it really like explains a lot. It really explains a lot, and I think it actually does the show a good favor. I think it really helps make it stand out from the pack, and it really is able to talk about things like achieving your dreams or like even the concept of free will. Even like those heady things, but it's all done in like a very like summer blockbuster package, which as a person who's usually a movie theater goer, it's like it's a nice way to enjoy the summer that way.
Yeah, it had some nice battle scenes on that too. Yeah, and that giant mobile fortress. It's like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, we could morph it into a giant fist to punch monsters.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Chris is now like, I have to check this out.
Maybe.
What?
Yeah, I've just been working through older stuff in my backlog. Like one of the nice things between the birthday sale and a lot of our new releases, I've had a lot of new Gundam stuff to catch up on. So I finished Gundam X, I watched Gundam NT, I picked up the original and Zeta movie adaptations during the birthday sale, so that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But also been dipping in some other not as old stuff that I really enjoyed. I just started back in on Last Exile. That's one of my favorites of all time. One of Gonzo's first series. One of the first ones also to incorporate a lot of CG, but the style is so good. Range Murata was the concept designer on that one. His design for the ships just have this awesome sort of like 50s hot rod cool to them.
Yeah, and a bit of steampunk too.
Yeah, very much. It's just like so cool conceptually. It's hard to describe. It's like, what if Miyazaki made a weird sci-fi steampunk almost? But it's really fun. And then another one, guilty pleasure of mine, Persona 5 has the English dub now, featuring the cast from the video game. So I'm watching that again because I watched the sub version. But this one, like, since I played the game with the dub, it's just like, oh man, all my cool friends are back. Ryuji's being an idiot over there. Morgana's being rude to An. Just like, oh man, this is so great. I'm glad to have them back in. So
Morgana's glomping on, I think.
Oh yeah. Yep, he does that.
Oh, Morgana.
I never played Persona 5, so it's like...
Well, you need to get the addiction. That's 100 hours of your time. You'll never get back.
I'll get Royale at some point and spend like 200 hours of my time,
Right?
Considering how much content apparently Royale has compared to the original.
Yeah, especially since I didn't unlock the new stuff when I finished my playthrough this time around by accident. There are things you need to know going in.
Or you just happen chance unlock everything that you need and make Chris cry. Because I didn't know about those things, but I happen to get everything.
Yeah, that was smooth. Congratulations to you.
Oh, yeah, I've been watching here and there, and I've lost track of what I've all watched. I most recently finished up the Misfit of Demon King Academy, which aired last season. It is just a guy with way too much power who's just kind of suave about it. Like, he's not trying to show off. He's just like, this is what I got, guys. Why are you complaining? Shut up. Boom. But it's like, I think the main guy is the equivalent of what Rimuru is on Reincarnated as a Slime, where he can just do what he wants. And he's just like, hey, yo. And I like the twist where the demons are probably more human in their emotional set than what the actual humans are. Which, I mean, I'll say it was a fun watch, but I don't know if it's like a top fave or anything.
Yeah.
It was just fun. I watched up to the latest episode of Fruits Basket. The remake is just gorgeous. I want the soundtrack so bad. That is a beautiful show. And they've gotten into the material that never got aired in the first one. So they're revealing things that, as a manga reader, you're going to know, but as just an anime watcher, you're not going to have that content available with the first season because they wrapped it way earlier. So you've met new characters. Yuki's coming out of his shell and on his own. The anime is doing a much better job than what I felt the manga did in pairing Haru. There's too many characters. I think that's the main girl. I think I messed up her name.
Oh, wait. The main girl? Toru?
Toru, thank you. I'm like, that was not right. Yeah, Toru. So it's doing a better job pairing her with, Yuki or Kyo, and I'm not going to spoil that for people that don't know, but you totally know which one she'll end up with at one point, where I think the manga you were guessing up closer to the end. But I also could have been misinterpreting things. I've only read it through once, but yeah. And I need to finish up the teen romantic comedy Snafu Climax, because I couldn't stand doing week to week. I wanted the emotional build up to binge, so I got to finish that up now.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that's a show I've always been wanting to check out, but the long title, I'm kind of biased towards long titles.
Plus, it's a pain to search up on the app.
Oh,
It's
God,
like
yeah.
trying to use your remote to type. Oh man, I didn't want to put an essay down.
Just put Snafu, it'll bring it up. There you go. There's the problem.
There, yeah.
But one thing, since you're not wanting to go for long titles. I will say that even though it has comedy in the title, it is not a comedy. It is very serious. It's got very deep characters that have personal internal struggles, and they're trying to find a way to coexist without hurting each other. It's really emotional. It's really good. And I love the main guy because he's also very cynical, but he knows he's being cynical, so he just embraces his own cynicism. It's great. I love it. How about our current fall watches? Anybody trying anything new?
Yeah, it's October, so I'm looking for something that's spooky. And I heard Higurashi came out with a new season.
Oh yeah.
Boy.
Or like a new series or reboot. It's not really clear.
It is something that is of the universe. That is all I know.
Yeah, but I actually decided to, since Funimation hooked us up with free Funimation Plus accounts, I checked out the first 2 episodes of the show, having never watched anything Higurashi related, and it was pretty good. I guess I was expecting more scares. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more like, right now it's more like slice of life stuff, which is actually surprisingly good. Usually, I mean, usually when there's like one guy in a club and the rest are girls.
Yeah.
Like in anime, it's usually the guy said something, all the girls for some reason get embarrassed or like wooey. But here, there's like actual back and forth. Like they banter, they argue, they have like conflict.
Oh.
It's actually enjoyable to watch, which I wasn't. Oh man, that sounded far too negative now. I'm trying to say. But it's like, it's not what I would expect from a situation like that in anime. But there's short little moments of like either like ominous tone or really like spooky tones. Like some of the best parts of the episodes are like in these split-second moments where like the main guy is like, oh, what happened down in what was supposed to be the dance site? And then there's this quick cut to a close-up, to a super detailed close-up of the girls' mouths, and then it's like, nothing. And it's like, it's just only for a split second, but it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
They're really like, whatever scariness or like horror stuff they have, it's really mostly kept close to its chest so far. And I want to see what was going on. It's a nice little it's like a nice little mystery show, which it'll get bloody eventually. I know that.
Yeah.
But I just want to see how it builds up to that.
Yeah, my impression of that series is that it's a lot more thriller with the tension going on. Yeah, that sounds good. Others?
Oh yeah, I've actually, okay, so let's see, what other, I've seen 2 other shows so far. There was this one called The Wandering Witch. Wandering Witch.
Yep, Elena?
Yeah,
something
Elena,
like
I think it's Elena, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that confused as well.
We have the manga on the site, and I've seen the cover.
Yep, the manga, novel are both there. But I think it's like, the one word I could describe it as just, it's beautiful. It's like the backgrounds are like just absolutely wonderfully detailed and lustfully colored. Then just the flex, they throw in like 3D butterflies that actually look really good. Really good, which is like, it's like, oh, 3D in anime? Yes, it's good. Don't worry.
Nice.
They might finally figure it out.
Yeah. And like this, I think going forward, it's supposed to be more like a Kino's Journey, Shishi kind of show where Elena, the witch, wanders around, I guess, from place to place and has mini stories. But the first episode was mostly focusing on her origin story into how she became a witch.
Oh.
Which is, so you get to learn about her and her mentor witch, and it produces a really nice and beautiful story that goes along with it. You really feel for the characters by the end, and like when their struggles through having to basically learn stuff from each other. And I'm excited to see what situations she can find herself in, because I actually read the first volume of the manga for a review, and I thought it was good, but I didn't feel like a lot of the situations or characters in the story were fleshed out. But that was not a problem that I had with this first episode at all. So I'm expecting to see the stories that I felt like could be good actually fully realized in this show.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, one that I've been watching, it just recently arrived on Netflix, is a Great Pretender. This one's really cool. It's got a cool pedigree. It's from a Wit studio, the studio that's done Attack on Titan and Vinland Saga, but it is a lot less intense than that. The show revolves around Makoto Edamura, who is a scam artist in Japan who ends up getting caught in another scam artist scheme and ends up joining their team as they go around the world scamming people. And it has very much sort of a Cowboy Bebop vibe to it, where it's just like a team of scoundrels trying to get by, but it's much more like story heavy, as they do each story in about like 5-episode blocks. And so it's all built around like a certain scheme. And so it's like watching a heist movie. You get to see the planning, you get to watch stuff unfold, you get to find out like how their targets are reacting, whether they're buying into the scheme or not, and it's just done really beautifully. The backgrounds just are very vibrant. They look like watercolor paintings almost, and it's just got a lot of style, a lot of fun. And they grabbed the Freddie Mercury cover of the old doo-wop song Great Pretender as the closing theme, which adds a lot of cool style to the end too. So
nice.
It's been a lot of fun. I'm about 2/3 of the way through, and it sounds like we're going to get a second wave of episodes in a couple of months from Netflix, so really excited for that one.
Oh, I didn't realize that it was into different arcs, because speaking of anime I was planning on binging, I may as well just go ahead and just watch the arcs and watch the arcs as they release.
Yeah, it's really nice. You can, like, they're almost like movie length when you look at them, about like 4 or 5 episodes.
Okay.
Nice.
That sounds sweet.
Yeah. Let's see. So I checked out some first episodes. I always say this wrong because it's got an extra syllable. Jujutsu Kaisen. It struck me as like a older version of Demon Slayer, not set in the Meiji era, but modern day. And the main guy is kind of nonchalant about the fact that he apparently just possesses this extra strength and talent to do physical things, like running, just like lifting anything. And he gets himself caught up in I'm going to say like a demon hunt of some sort, where there's an actual spiritualist chasing down this item that his occult club has found and is going to examine, aka take off the seal. And things escalate. He finds himself kind of morphed with this item. And that's the end of the episode, when he's like, oh, you're the demon now. We have to kill you. So it's like, I'm sure just based on what I know of regular anime, he's going to get pulled into the fold and start chasing spirits himself. But that first episode had some great battle scenes. It was very visual. The characters seem pretty likable, even though you don't get to know their personalities that well in the first episode, but their interactions were realistic. I just really enjoyed it. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. And then I also checked out the I'm Standing on a Million Lives first episode. And it's another isekai show, which, I mean, we're all kind of getting a little too much isekai, but this one just seemed a little different for some reason to me. And I think what it is that they're pulled into a like pseudo game world where there are gaming style rules, and as long as somebody in the party is still alive, you can be resurrected. And the guy's the third member to join this group, and he's like, oh, so I get resurrected, okay. And he just has at these goblins and gets killed and comes back to life and kills other things and comes back to life, and it's like, I feel like you're working the system. But it's hinting near the end of the episode that he might be starting to do a little Saga Tanya the Evil Crazy going on. And I really enjoyed that show because of its twisted plotline and made me laugh, even though it is not supposed to be funny. So I'm looking forward to I'm Standing on a Million Lives, just because I feel like that vibe could get installed in it. And apparently I have a twisted sense of humor at some point. So that one, and I did start watching the first episode of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon season 3, but I'm also reading the novels, so I'm getting a little overkill, but I just want to mention that people are going to have a really good time with this arc. It's got a lot of world, not breaking, but it's like it's bending what you think you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not breaking its own rules, but because you have certain assumptions beforehand because of everything else that we consume for fantasy shows, it's like bending those rules, and there's some new characters that are coming out that are really cool. So look forward to all those episodes coming up.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
One that I forgot to mention is Akudama Drive.
Oh, I saw a preview for that.
Yeah, it's nuts. It is nuts.
Well, just the preview episode. Yeah, it's like she just all Funimation showed on this clip was that this girl is like in the middle of this battle between like 5 or 6 people, and she's like, oh, and they're all like, oh. And then they're like, who the heck is this? And she's like, I was just chasing this cat. And then they were like, well, you're going to have to die now because you're here and we're having fun killing each other or whatever. So I'll let you talk because that clip is like WTF.
Yeah, well, I mean, try to put it in a sentence, it's a competently made Suicide Squad with Blade Runner aesthetics.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow, okay.
I must watch now.
So what's going on is that it's supposed to be set in like far future Japan. And they're like these underground legendary thieves or like underground like criminals called like Akudama. And they basically just go around the city doing whatever they want until they get captured. And when they do get captured, they die via public guillotine execution. Yeah, as I said, this show is pretty nuts so far.
It looked like it had really good animation.
Oh yeah, the animation is for the first episode is spectacular.
Ooh.
Like especially like there's like a big fight with like a giant robot near the end that's like really cool to watch, and like just all the different like action sequences are also cool. Like there's a guy that drives a motorcycle. He's the courier, and he gets around the city by driving his motorcycle and then using like. Basically, he's like Spider-Man with his motocycle, where like his motorcycle has like these. I forget the actual term for it.
He's like the Attack on Titan gear.
Yeah, he's got his motorbike is the Attack on Titan gear.
And so he's got like grappling hooks and stuff?
Yeah, he's got grappling hooks so he could just swing around the cityscape like Spider-Man.
On a motorcycle.
On a motorcycle, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, as well as being really insane, this show was actually pretty dumb. But in a good way.
Oh, I love those.
Mm.
The crazy where the episode ends and you're like, I must close my mouth now because what?
Yep. Because at the end of the episode, when I said it was like Suicide Squad, somehow they all get like the guys on the main cast gets collars around their necks, and of course if they try to remove them, their head blows off.
Of course.
And then the black cat that's just been kind of walking around throughout the episode just kind of stands up as like, hello. And like a cyborg telepathic maybe voice, we don't know. So it's just kind of like, well, that was an episode. Can they keep this up? I don't know, but it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice. Oh my. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then hopefully, like, I don't have like a Crunchyroll Pro account, so hopefully at some point I'll be able to check out Jujutsu Kaisen. I was actually looking forward to that one as well. And then I think Dragon Quest, I think that's also on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those. For me, it was one of those anime where it was like really popular in Japan, but never made it stateside, and now they decided to remake it. And it's like, I might as well check it out to see what to find out what made it so like such a fan favorite back in the day.
Yeah, and I think it has a newer game that released maybe within this last year or so that
there's
kind
a
of
recent
elevated
Dragon
it again.
Quest. I don't remember which number. I'm gonna be way off.
Yeah, I know, right? Well,
I want to say like 13, but people are gonna be like, no, it's 11. We're
you mean,
stupid.
or is it like 11S special edition?
Yeah.
Or was it like 11 in Japan and it's only 8 here?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
the new version for the Switch that includes 3 new dungeons or whatever.
But like when I was looking up like information on the show, I didn't realize that it was based off of a manga and Shonen Jump, and that the manga and Shonen Jump is one of their best-selling titles ever. Like in terms of like volume sold. That's one of those like surprises to me. And it's like, oh well, I just want to see what's so popular about it.
It's got a good pedigree backing it up, so worth a shot. One that I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't mention from this new season, Yasha Hime. There's so much hype behind this one right now. If you don't know, this is the sort of sequel series to Inuyasha going on in the same world. Looks like it revolves around a couple of siblings in the feudal era of Japan that Inuyasha took place that get separated. One ends up in the future and pretty much gets adopted by Kagome's brother and then goes back.
Oh, God.
And they don't remember each other, and they get involved in sort of demon shenanigans again, so I might be way off on that, but I think that's what I remember from the summary. But it looks like it has a lot of that classic Rumiko art style that made the original show such a standout, and I mean, I'm nostalgic for all that stuff from that sort of Adult Swim Toonami era. By the time this will come out, we'll have just wrapped up on our Midnight Run sale, which was inspired by that, and I put that sale together and just being like, oh man, I miss that stuff. And so I wanted to be sure there's some Inuyasha representation in there. Yeah. And so that, I think, is one that will at least be worth checking out. So
yeah, and Burn the Witch is another one that's made a lot of names because it's the same... Bleach is involved somehow.
It's the same creator, too.
Same creator. I think it's supposed to be the same universe. Like, I think the Soul Society is somehow involved with what's going on.
Because I know that what little bit I've read about it is that the witches themselves are able to traverse into another dimension of London, but it's still London. Yeah. So it's kind of like Harry Potter can wander around in London, but not actually be in London.
Yeah, like it's called Reverse London. Like, that's just the name of the city?
Because they can't use under London.
That's because under London exists.
London.
Ooh, I like that. we should be writers
dumb portmanteaus. What can I say? And then another one that was a little more casual that I saw that caught my interest. That is The Bottleneck. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's just a simple, short comedy series about people working at a convenience store. And as somebody that used to work in retail, somebody who was a big fan of Skullface bookseller Honda-san, I feel like that's going to be like right in the same wheelhouse of just like silly art, surreal storytelling, and just goofball times. Just that's kind of my sweet spot. It was just like, let's just watch something dumb.
Something you can relate to.
Exactly. So
nice.
I'm excited for that one as well.
Yeah, the only other one on my radar right now is Moriarty The Patriot, which is streaming on Funny, and I just finished reading the first volume of the manga for a review as well. And you don't really need to know much about Sherlock Holmes because this is a original origin story that the authors have come up with for Moriarty, because apparently he doesn't have too much of a background story in the actual Sherlock Holmes. He's just there to thwart Sherlock. So it's one of those stories where you already know the main character's twisted. It's just, how does he get so twisted? And I'll just say that it's a lot of reverse mystery, as in instead of, hey, you show up at the scene of the crime and try and figure out who done it, why they did it, and how. You know the said person. You're in this scene. You're gonna die, dude. You're just gonna die. But how is Moriarty gonna get you and not get caught? So you get to figure out what they're gonna do and how they're gonna do it based on their actions within the story, what kind of stuff they're telling the victim. They're very manipulative, which it's a brain teaser. So I enjoyed the first volume. So when I found out that there's an anime, because this season is full. Oh my gosh, I didn't know there was an anime till like a week and a half ago. When I signed up for it, I didn't know there was an anime for it. So I'm looking forward to the anime because now I'll get to see what happens beyond volume 1 because I'm cheap. So yeah, I think, does that cover everybody's what they're looking for fall? Does anybody have another one? Another one! See, it's a full season.
Will's got one.
It's called Taiso Samurai.
Oh,
it's another sports anime. This time it's about gymnastics. And about more like an older Japanese gymnast who still wants to succeed. And it has somehow... I don't know the actual real plot specifics because they're trying to mostly keep it under wraps.
Yeah, and one of our coworkers was telling me about this earlier. She said that it has to deal with something with the Olympics too.
Maybe? It was
working towards that goal.
Yeah,
maybe.
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, it sounded interesting.
Yeah, it would sound interesting. It's by the same guys who did Zombieland Saga, like the same directors and stuff. So,
Okay.
well, it's definitely sports drama is definitely different from their other work, but considering how different their other work usually is, I'm excited to see how they tackle subject matter like this. And of course, it's by Mappa, so hopefully the animation's great.
News thing.
Oh, news.
News?
There's news?
We have news.
We have news.
Woo.
Who will tell us the news?
Chris, you're our
Yeah, I did grab a few little news items we can cover before we wrap things up. The first thing, the big news that broke this Sunday, G-Kids ended up acquiring the rights to Neon Genesis Evangelion. It is finally returning to physical media for the first time in over 15 years. They've got the rights for Blu-ray and digital download. They're going to be doing the full TV series, Death True 2, the recap movie, and the end of Evangelion. So they've got all of that covered. No word yet on what they're going to be bringing us audio-wise, though, because the two big questions there are, first up, what are the verbal tracks going to be like? Or is it just going to be like the Netflix audio in the Japanese, or are we going to be able to get the ADV dub that a lot of people are more nostalgic for?
Shinji, just get in the robot!
And then people are wondering if maybe they'll take the time and actually get the license for Fly Me to the Moon for all the closing music, because as somebody who watched it the first time around, that's such a big part of it. Like, that one episode where Shinji's just giving a terrified scream and then just snaps right into Fly Me to the Moon. It's just such, just a car wreck of a transition that it hits you emotionally. And to have that just generic music in its place in the new version just doesn't quite get there. So a lot of people, I think, are going to be hoping G-Kids puts the effort to actually get that over the hump. Today, some exciting news dropped. The teaser video for Dr. Stone Season 2 dropped.
Yeah,
I'm getting excited for that. It's the culmination of the battle they've been building up all throughout Season 1 of Senku's Kingdom of Science, getting ready to use their knowledge against big old Tsukasa and his army of guys that hit hard. So that's scheduled to drop in January, so I'm pretty excited for that. Some other news, Netflix getting more anime, and not just quote-unquote anime like they do, where it's just like, here's an American animated show, but it's anime because it's for people older than 13.
It's a terrible categorization, Netflix.
No kidding. But they're getting more Godzilla anime. This one is coming from Bones.
And Orange.
Yep. It's a good sort of pedigree for this one. It's a mix of hand-drawn and CG styles coming in the series, and the character designs are coming from Kazue Kato, who you might recognize as the creator of Blue Exorcist. So that's a pretty cool touch. That will also be arriving sometime next year.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to touch on, we got some manga news. The Harvey Awards, which are a big North American comic award given out by professionals in the industry over the year, compared to the Eisners, which are just the industry themselves. Witch Hat Atelier won the Harvey Award for Best Manga. It's only the third time they've given the award out. Last year they were also in the running, but they got beat out by My Hero Academia. So that is going to have a lot of press behind it too.
Yeah. And the manga series is very well done. It's very beautiful. I believe you read one of them too.
Yeah, I reviewed it, and then I didn't like it. I didn't like it too much initially, but then I went back and read it, and I was like, what the heck was I thinking when I first read it? It's a gorgeous manga, and the character, and at least sort of the first volume, the character art that the main character goes through is actually really well done, and the climax in that floating boat world is stupendous.
And the thing I really enjoyed about it is that it has its own take on magic, something that I've never seen before, and if I say what it is, it's going to ruin part of the suspense of the manga, so I won't. But I really, really appreciated the ingenuity that had to go into building that magic and how it's used in the world. So yeah, it definitely deserves that award. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that's all I got for news. So
I believe that wraps up our return to the podcast after how many months?
It's been
Let's not count.
Yeah, too many.
Too many. We've missed our audience. I've missed doing this. It's
And we're making sure to do it safely. We're all rocking our masks, so if we sound a little bit muffled, that's why.
Yeah, so if you've been complaining for the last hour going, I can't understand them.
Get better mics!
Yeah, we are currently masked up and practicing good social distancing safety precautions because pandemic is still happening.
Yeah, stay safe out there, everybody, please.
Yep. And if you have any questions, comments,
ideas for features that we should do in the future.
You can do that. You can email us at rspodcast@rightstuff.com, and hopefully that was understood through said mask. We're planning on returning.
Not sure maybe going back to our every 2 weeks, our fortnightly schedule.
Fortnightly schedule. Yes. So we'll wrap up here and see you guys next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for listening, y'all.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Right Stuff Anime. We'd love to hear from you. Send us your questions or comments to rspodcast@rightstuff.com, and we might just answer them in a future episode. That's rspodcast@rightstuff.com.